Hello, everyone, and welcome to the repaved Iowa Speedway for the Cyhawk 150 here on the Aussie Sim Commentator channel for the Output Racing League. And this is promising to be an interesting kind of race. As we can see, there's a couple of cars on track. This is Frank Isaacson in a 24, just getting some laps in. So far, we have 21 drivers signed up for racing action, just one who has not set a lap time yet. And sitting on top of it all is Thomas Harmon in the 38 car. Is that Ken Campbell hiding in an access road? It is. Ken Campbell, what are you doing? He's blocking the safety truck from coming out. Yeah, most people are in the pits. There's Christian Champeau, Kyle McCoy, Ken Campbell, Frank Isaacson, who are out of the pits. And it looks like they're going to be joined by a few more, as I think we're preparing for a pit party. There is your race one winner, the 17 of Christian Budd, currently in P3 in the standings on practice. That's Harmon McCannley. In fact, let me bring up the thing. Let's do this. Harmon, McCannley, Budd, Pape, Rickard, Horton, Slummer, Marquez, Watson, and Champeau. That is your top 10. We'll go over the page. There's McCoy, Faylor, Sanchez, Massio, Pizzicami, McDonald, Campbell, Sanders, Pentacuff, and Isaacson. And as I said previously, Austin Collins has not set a lap. And we're actually also joined now by Cook and Griezmann, bringing us up to a 23 car field. Current strength of field of the 23 cars is a 32.56. As this looks like it's the main group for the pit party. And they're taking a second lap at it just to get everyone into the group. Here we go for the pit party. As I just had news come through that Shane Van Gisbergen has won his first oval race in America, winning the Legends Shootout at Charlotte. Oh, and very loose there in the middle of the field. That's Scott Rickard in the 05. And he will drop to the back of the pack. Currently looking at Thomas Harmon in the 38, the Oreo machine. He's right on the tail of Pizzicami. There's Ken Campbell out from his hiding hole. Travis Massio just going down to the back of the pack. James Watson's got loose and made it all the way down to the inside wall there. Yeah, the general consensus from drivers so far is it's very loose. Tightens up over the run, but very loose as in the back of the pack. Saw the 05 going around, smacking that outside wall. There's Marquez squeezed into the fence a little bit there by the 25 of Jack Sanders. Been a while since the Output Racing League have come to Iowa, and that's our first trip to the repave of it. Oh, very loose on entry to one there was a 13 of Masia. Saw him just about slide job his way into the side of Pizzichemi. Around goes the Piper Pentacuff. That's coming out of turn 4. Doesn't look like he hit anything, but his tires would be absolutely roasted. And it looks like we've got just over 8 minutes left here in practice. I'm surprised that Christian Budd hasn't made his way to the front, although I'm saying that a top 4 all separated by less than 1/10 of a second. But Rickard just can't quite get into those 23.2s. Pape in P4, also just out of the 23.2s, but he's close enough that he's less than 1/10. On around goes the 61 of the Cookie Monster himself, Corey Cook. Looks like Ken Campbell about to feel the pressure from Logan McAnally. We're looking at Thomas Harmon. He is behind Avery McDonald. Now we've got a big bit of pack action going on. There's a 61 of Cook coming out with his fresh tyres. Oh, there was contact between Cook and McAnally. McAnally was put in the fence. Avery almost caught a piece of that as well. And around goes the Cookie Monster. You got to turn back around. He's going to make his way back onto the track. Looks like Pizzichemi pulling to the infield. Gonna reset and try again, maybe. Pizzichemi currently in the 13th position. as McDonald caught the fence and allowed McAnally through. Just behind the both of them is Pape in the 6 car. Oh, big smack into the fence for Kyle McCoy. That looked like one of those lost your brakes kind of incidents. Massive driver's side contact as well. Might have to put him on concussion protocol. And around goes Griesbaum. He's down in 20th position at the moment. Still the 23 entries in the race. I don't see our 23 car from last week as, oh, McDonald. Way too fast on the pit entry there, smacked the barrels on pit entry. It's just a couple minutes left in practice now. But these guys are going to, if they haven't done so yet, they're probably going to start thinking about doing some qualifying practice, because trying to extract the most out of this car while it's feeling as loose as it is going to be a hard task. Although everyone that is on track has at least 28 laps on their tyre set, with the exception of Frank Isaacson, who only has 7. But with that, we are going to go to a commercial break now, and when we come back, we'll be seeing how qualifying is going to pan out. Although I did start calling that one a little bit too early, I think. We're going to go to a commercial break now. So make sure you guys stay tuned. Racing action from the Cyhawk 150 will be coming up very shortly right here on the Aussie Sim Commentator channel for the Output Racing League. So make sure you guys stay tuned. welcome back to the Iowa Speedway here for the Cyhawk 150 right here on the Aussie Sim Commentator channel for the Output Racing League. We have 13 times on the board for the racing action here tonight. And we're about to find out who is going to be starting where on our grid. And to the surprise of no one, Christian Budd will be off the pole in the 17. Thomas Harmon in the 38 on his outside in P2. P3 will go the way of Ken Campbell with P4, the 12 of Chris Champeau. P5 will be the 68 of Andrew Griesbaum, with P6 going to the 39 of James Watson. Joe Slama in the 9 will be out of P7 with the 05 of Scott Riggett out of P8. P9 will see the 5 of Mark Pentacuff with P10, the 25 of Jack Sanders. P11 we will have the 24 of Frank Isaacson with P12, the 13 of Travis Massier. P13 and the last car eligible for the hard charger, the 74 of Austin Collins, with the 1 of Logan McAnally out of 14th position. P15 will be the 16 of Kyle McCoy with the 61 of Corey Cook out of 16th. P17 will be the 89 of Matt Horton with the 4 of Jaron Sanchez out of 18th. 19th position will be the 21 of Thad Faylor with Avery McDonald in the 20th position in the 77 car. 21st will be Mitch Pape in the 6th car with Brian Pizzicemi out of the 22nd position in the 78 car. And last but not least, Jonas Marquez in the 00 machine will be out of 23rd. 150 laps ahead of us. 13 cars eligible for the Hard Charger Award. And it should be an interesting one with how loose it is and how little practice some people got. Austin Collins. And with this being a short track, there is 2 laps of pacing. The front row must stay side by side. The first start is on green. All the restarts will be within the restart zone. And that will be on the leader, and the leader will have lane choice for the restarts. I'm just reiterating that now because I do believe we'll probably get 1 or 2 restarts. The field makes their way down the back straight. Getting ready to go green. The pace car will make that hard left turn into pit lane. 150 laps of the repaved Iowa Speedway. And we're underway for the Cyhawk 150 race number 2 in the Output Racing League for Season 2 2025. And you can see so much stack up from the second row. 17 and 38 just absolutely pulled away with it. We're already going to set the camera to focus on crashes. It's because there is a lot of 2x2 action. And around goes a 25 car. That is Jack Sanders, who has brought out the first caution of the race. Just back this up real quick and see what happened to him, even though we saw it live. Coming into turn 3, he's entered very high, and you see he's already loose. And around he goes. Going around the outside of him there was the 13 of Travis Massier. Travis barely holding onto the machine himself while he's out there. And just a little boop against the fence. So that was our first caution of the race. Fizikemi and Sanders appear to be the only two who have entered pit lane. As I said, these cars will start out very loose here in the early going. As the 15 of Ken Campbell experimenting with an alternate dimension there under caution laps. Lights are still on the pace car, so we'll go at least one more time around. If you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you're watching this on Twitch, don't forget to drop a follow and consider subscribing or throwing bits or whatever. It looks pretty obvious here that the 17 of Christian Budd going to choose the inside line. That's going to be Bud, Harmon, Champeau, Campbell, Griesbaum, Watson, Rickard, Slammer, Pentacup, and Isaacson as your top 10. We haven't really had much time for people to gain positions. So a couple of people have gained 2. There's one that I see that's gained 3. Of course, Jack Sanders, who has lost 12. But here we go for the restart now. The pace car will once more make that hard left turn into pit lane. And Christian Budd will control the restart. He gets to go at any point after he enters the restart zone, which is here. And he's off and racing. He goes about halfway through the box. And look at that jump he got. Absolutely phenomenal. Thomas Harmon also with a pretty good restart there, although he did struggle to keep up with Christian Budd on the restart there as we go back to focusing on crashes. And we're still on Jack Sanders, who's at the back of the bus. Caution is out once more. Oh, and it's a big one. Involves Frank Isaacson in the 24 car. And that is the 13 as well of Travis Massier. Let's slow this down. You can see they're right near each other. In fact, there's 3 wide as they come into turn 3. Oh, Frank's loose. Frank's loose and comes down the track. And it's just slight contact with the 13 car. Logan McAnally somehow avoiding contact with the 13. He will scrape against the inside fence there a little bit. Oh, Thad Faylor just gets into the back of Frank, so he'll have a little bit of front end damage as well. So 4 cars involved in this one. Travis Massier, let's just back this up again and see what happened to him after the contact. You see Frank very sideways there with this turn 3 camera. Around they go. And his bumper has already come off there. I thought he might have hit the fence a little bit. But no, his bumper came off, phased through his car, which is an achievement all in itself. Then his bumper makes its way over to Frank Isaacson in the 24 car. We've got 4 cars on pit lane. Thad Failor, Pizzacami, Massia and Isaacson. So we haven't actually completed a lap under green yet. And Massia has gone a lap down. He's still in the pit lane, so he will officially be a lap down. Field's starting to form up behind the pace car already. Those lights are out. Once more, Christian Budd has chosen the inside lane for the restart. Massia has come out of the pits. He is going to be 1 lap down, as I mentioned before. Pizzacami has come in for another quick stop, I think just to get fuel and to drop to the back of the pack. And if we keep this up, this is going to be a very long broadcast. As the pace car once more is going to make that hard left turn into pit lane. We are racing once more. Again, another early restart for the 17 of Christian Budd, as he will trundle off into the lead once more. Thomas Harmon will take up the 2nd position, with the battle being on for 3rd between Champeau and Campbell. If we go back to focusing on cameras, it's still looking at Frank Isaacson in the 24 car, as they all get around Jack Sanders. Now we're looking through the field. We're currently aimed at the 9 of Joe Slama. On his outside is Kyle McCoy in the 16. There's Andrew Griezmann in the 68 car. These guys are in the 7th to 9th positions. McCoy just trundling his way through the field right now. He didn't qualify. He's not eligible for the Hard Charger Award, but he's showing what he can do right now. Logan McAnally, another one who didn't set a qualifying time, trying to fight his way through the field. As Mark Pentecoff will be battling him right now in the 5 car. Normally see Kansas City Chiefs on the 5 car of Mark Pentecoff. They couldn't find a paint for it, as that Baylor had to make a pit stop under green here. He's gone 2 laps down, possibly 3. I don't have a mini-map available to me today, so I can't see where he is on the track in relation to the leaders. But the good thing is we've gotten a few laps in the books under green here. Even though this is just a repaid version of Iowa, it was done under the guise of being a completely new track build. That's why there's no mini-map for it. And tell you what, Mark Pentecoff actually not doing too bad here as he goes 3 wide on the bottom of Griesbaum. And I couldn't see who that other car was. I think it's Mitch Pape. It was Mitch Pape. Actually, no, it was Horton. It's Griesbaum and Horton still side by side. And now Horton takes the advantage. These guys battling from the 11th to 14th positions with Pape in the back there. Oh, just about contact between Pentecoff and Horton. As Pape now pulls to the inside of Griesbaum. Trying to look for some moves there. Go back to focusing anywhere and everywhere. There is the Cookie Monster himself, Corey Cook. And it looks like he's about to be under pressure from the 78 of Brian Pizzicami. Just a little bit behind these guys, side by side, was Frank Isaacson and league founder Jaron Sanchez. Those two arguing over the 19th position. And it's good that we're starting to get some laps in. Everyone just calming down a bit, taking their foot off the accelerator a little bit. It's definitely going to make things interesting later on when things start tightening up and I have to start thinking about taking a new set of tyres. Let's go check out the battle at the front of the pack since we haven't really put much focus on them. Christian Budd still leading away, this time from Chris Champeau in P2. And Champeau putting all kinds of pressure on the back of the 17 Ford Fusion. And it looks like there's a battle going on for third as well. Just trying to find the right button to press. That's not it, so this one must be it. The 38 Thomas Harmon to go, 5 of Scott Rickard. So it's 2 Fords by 2 Chevys. That is your top 4. Just behind these guys is Ken Campbell and Kyle McCoy, the 15 and the 16 cars. They'll be looking to try and make a mark in this one. Go back to focusing anywhere and everywhere. The 78 Brian Pizzicami now getting to the inside of Mark Pentecoff. We look at the 00 of Jonas Marquez. And the 68 of Andrew Griesbaum. The Pentecoff and Pizzicami battling over 13. Pizzicami running that low line, trying to take the advantage. I'll tell you what, Pentecoff actually doing really good here to hold him off. But unfortunately, it's just not quite enough as Pizzicami squeezes his way up into 13th. Just behind these guys, you can see the 61 battling it out with the 00 machine, and Corey Cook in the 61 taking the position away from Jonas Marquez. Frank Isaacson just sent it underneath of Jonas, couldn't get anything of it, fell back in behind him. biggest mover right now is the 6 of Mitch Pape, 21st to 12th. Gain of 9 positions at the moment. Pizzacami on a similar run. In fact, Pizzacami has just overtaken Pape to take over the most positions gained position at 10. And it relegate Pape back to 8. But here is a big old battle going on. Griesbaum, Pentacuff, Cook. Griesbaum trying his hardest to get around Pentacuff here. Pentacuff putting up a solid defense. And Corey Cook just waiting to take advantage. But they're all lining up to get underneath of Pentacuff here. Oh, very loose coming out of turn 2 was a double O of Marquez. Griesbaum finally gets clear of the 5 machine. But now he's battling it out with the Cookie Monster himself. Oh, just about contact as they came out of turn 2. Cook thought that Griesbaum was going to start ripping up the track earlier than that. But Cook will take the advantage coming out of turn 4, almost getting loose and tapping the fence. Good old battling going on as Marquez now getting to the inside of Pentacuff. Behind them, Sanchez trying to get to the inside of Isaacson. And I don't think we're going to be too terribly far away from our leader entering lap traffic, as Christian Budd now has a half-second lead over Chris Champeau on P2. Lap's starting to wind down very quickly, as it looks like Griesbaum in another battle here as he just got around Corey Cook in the 61 machine. Both of them right behind the 89 of Matt Horton. Horton, another one who tends not to qualify, starts from the back and works his way through the field. Austin Collins has only gained a few positions from where he started. Or is this battle between Cook and Griesbaum starting to look a little bit frosty? Cook running the outside. He's pulled up to the side of Griesbaum. Swings way too high there in 3 and 4. Loses all the advantage he had gained. This is an absolute slobber knocker of a battle. That's only for the 14th position, as Thomas Harmon has just made his way back up into P2, getting around the 12 of Chris Champeau. 0.6 of a second is the gap between Budd and Harmon. Go back to this battle was Griesbaum and Cook. Cook back to the inside of Griesbaum once more. Griesbaum pinching hard on the side of Cook. neither of them wanting to give up the position. But Griesbaum concedes this time. Cook will take the advantage, but it looks like Griesbaum trying to undercut him, and he did. The over-under coming into effect. This is a great battle between these two. But it looks like Cook with the momentum on the outside line there, taking the advantage, and will hold on to the position now. Now this was an age-old battle that went on for like 20 laps. But it looks like they've gotten things sorted out now. Go back to just focusing anywhere and everywhere. We're looking at the double O of Jonas Marquez, who has the 4 of Jaron Sanchez, the league founder, on his tail. Back to looking at Andrew Griesbaum. I think we're going to start keeping an eye on our leaders here, as Thomas Harmon has absolutely closed the gap in on Christian Budd. At the same time, both of them starting to close the gap in on the back of the pack. Jack Sanders, the first one at risk of being overtaken and put a lap down. Of course, Travis Massey and Thad Faylor going a lap down, getting repairs to their machines. The action is definitely heating up here. Thomas Harmon's just consistently been just slightly faster than Christian Budd the last few laps. But Christian Budd starting to pull out that gap again. Just gains a 10th on Thomas that time by. It looks like Logan McAnally got around James Watson for the 9th position that time around. You can see Jack Sanders on the screen now. So once more, Thomas Harmon pulls right in on the bumper of Christian Budd. Sanders was running a really wide line there in 3 and 4. I think it was in an attempt to allow the leaders pass, but they just weren't quite close enough at that point in time. They are now, as Sanders goes a lap down. In fact, Thomas actually kind of caught him in a weird spot there. Next on the list, just up the road, is Thad Baylor, who is already 2 laps down. And considering the start of this race, it's surprising that we haven't had another caution. But I think what we are going to do, though, is we're going to go to a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll have more racing action from the Cyhawk 150 coming up very shortly. welcome back to the Cyhawk 150 right here from the repaved Iowa Speedway. We're looking at the back of the Christian Budd machine. This is what 3/4 of a second looks like. They go down through turns 1 and 2. The Christian Budd during the commercial break there, opening up the gap once more to Thomas Harmon. And Thomas suffering a little bit from the heat soak in his tyres, as they're starting to catch up to Thad Baylor in the 21 machine. Got a couple of big moves going on. Got the one car trying to go for the move on the 16. That's Logan McAnally trying to make the move on Kyle McCoy. And this is as they've caught up to Jack Sanders in the 25 machine. Sanders runs the high line to allow free passage for these guys battling position. McAnally does make the move on McCoy, but again catches the 25 machine at an awkward spot on the track and had to adjust his driving style there for just a moment. But McAnally now sizing up the 15 of Ken Campbell. He must be wearing a V-neck because he's choking a little bit. Now the gap between Budd and Harmon, 1 1/4 seconds. The Christian Budd's just found another gear in this thing, apparently. And he's pulling out all the stops to pull away from Thomas Harmon. But this is your battle for P5 on the track. And we shouldn't be too far away from green flag stops. Around lap 75 will get you halfway. How small this track is, you'll expect these drivers to have to pit at least once. Ken Campbell getting a little bit balked there by the 05 of Scott Rickard, who also has to deal with McAnally now. And Rickard getting out of the way and actually catching the fence there a little bit. And he loses 2 spots instantaneously, just like that. It's now Chris Champeau under attack from the 1 of McAnally. And McAnally makes easy work of Chris Champeau there, as Rickard and McCoy battle in the background for P6. Ken Campbell now trying to size up and move on to 12, and he gets to the inside. Looks like Chris Champeau struggling with grip in this car a little bit. He's not able to get to the gas as quickly as the other guys, and looks like he's struggling a little bit on entry as well. Frank Isaacson and Mark Pentacup have also been put a lap down. Avery McDonald in the 77 is the next car on the list for Budd to put a lap down, as McCoy gets to the inside of Chris Champeau as well. But he was unable to make the move in turns 1 and 2. We'll have to resize that one up and try it again. Brian Pizzakemi in P8. He's looking to get involved in this battle as well. Not far behind them was also Joe Slama. McCoy gets to the inside of Chris Champeau now, and he will finally make that move stick. Chris Champeau battling back to the inside of McCoy into turns 1 and 2. But McCoy, using the momentum of that outside line, will hold on to the position. But he looks like he just prefers that outside line, as Pisakemi has taken over 7th from Rickard. Just about getting into contact with the Chris Champeau machine. Now Pisakemi pulls to the inside. And Pisakemi will take the position away, although they're going to go 3 wide with the lap car of Mark Pentacuff. And that allows Chris Champeau to get back ahead temporarily. But it provided too awkward of an entrance for him. And Pisakemi picks up P6. And yes, all those P words were absolutely planned in that sentence. Let's go check back in on our leader, the 17 of Christian Budd, who now has a 2.5 second lead over Thomas Harmon. And he's starting to catch up to the pack itself. I said Avery McDonald right there, so too is the 4 of Sanchez, 68 of Griesbaum, and the 13 of Travis Masseur is in this group as well. Well, also very close to the halfway point. So a few of these drivers will probably be thinking about green flag stops here shortly. As to the inside of Avery goes Christian. As now we're at the halfway point, 75 laps down, 75 laps to go. And Christian Budd getting a little bit held up in the traffic here. He's starting to make some moves. As Avery looking to take advantage of the leader coming through the pack. He's pulled to the inside of Jaron Sanchez. Sanchez running the higher line to get the momentums. He will hold on to that 17th position. One more car in this little group as Kyle McCoy is out, apparently. Joe Slammer has gone to the pits. He's taking his green flag pit stop. Corey Cook similarly coming into the pits for his green flag stop. We did see McCoy was struggling with alternate dimensions earlier. It was only very brief, but we did see him blink a couple times. Paper's coming to the pits now. It definitely looks like McCoy might be OUT out of action. Christian Budd definitely looking very smooth, very calm and collected right now, as Sanchez has come into the pits. Sanchez trying to maintain that little bit of an advantage over McDonald by undercutting him a little bit. McDonald comes into the pits this time. There's nearly a full 3-second gap between Budd and Harmon now. Harmon dealing with some of the lap traffic. In fact, he's right behind Griesbaum. Gets around him. Budd doesn't have to worry about the undercut. He's probably waiting for Thomas Harmon to make his move and go into the pits. Because he knows that if he pits one lap later, he can cover him with the slightly fresher tyres. Chris Champeau has come into the pits. And our leader, Christian Budd, starting to catch up to the back of Jonas Marquez. Currently in P10. Campo now goes down a lap. He'll gain that back when our leaders decide to pit. Joe Slama putting in some pretty fast lap times right now. As Mark Pentecoff looks like he's going to pit. Austin Collins is in the pit. And Sanchez pulling to the apron to get out of the way. But he's looking like he might end up pitting again, as there's almost contact between the 00 and the 17. In fact, Sanchez is in the pits again. Not sure what's going on there. Joe Slama with his fresh tyres. He's been pumping out some fast laps. He's on the tail of our leader. Slama looking to get one of his laps back. And he will do so by driving around the Christian Budd machine. Jonas Marquez has come to the pits now. So too is Ken Campbell and Brian Pizzicami. Thomas Harmon looks like he's not far away from coming into the pits. Watson is in. The 17 is in now. Everyone in the top group is pitting. I think Harmon might have missed his pit entry, because McAnally got around him. And there is Thomas Harmon. Orton is still out on the track, so too is Griesbaum. Both of them have not pitted yet. Horton now takes the lead in the 89 machine. And Horton's going to bring it in this time. This will leave the 68 of Griesbaum in the lead. Griesbaum is not going to pick yet. He's hoping for a caution. Griesbaum is absolutely hoping for a caution right now. Although the 17 of Christian Budd is right there on his tail. And so too is Scott Rickard. As once more, the 17 will take over the lead of this race. Scott Rickard right on Budd's tail, though Rickard is a lap down on Budd. Rickard scored as the first car a lap down. Griesbaum comes into the pits this time. Looks like Sanchez is going to be out of action. He's been in the pits for a good 10 laps now. Griesbaum goes a lap down. Thomas Harmon has dropped down to 5th in the race. But I do believe he missed his pit entry. And had to take a second stab at it. But we're nearing 2/3 distance in this race. And Christian Budd has a 4-second lead, 4.25 second lead over Logan McAnally. Looking at the 05 of Scott Rickard, who couldn't quite catch back up to the 17 machine. So he will stay a lap down. 10 cars left on the lead lap. James Watson in the 39 is the last car on the lead lap. So if we were to get a caution right now, that would make things very interesting, because there'd only be 11 on the lead lap. Corey Cook and James Watson now battling it out for the 9th position. Watson will take that over very quickly. Looking at Avery McDonald here, he's in 13. Back to James and Watson. Oh, very loose. 24 of Frank Isaacson right in front of the 74 of Austin Collins. Thomas Harmon has worked his way back up into 3rd. Now, Collins and Isaacson are actually racing for position. They're in 16th and 17th respectively. Look at Avery McDonald, who is a lap ahead of Collins and Isaacson. There's a 39, oh, the 38, Thomas Harmon. 78, Brian Pizzakemi, he's in P4. He's got Ken Campbell on his tail. Now look at the 61, Corey Cook. Just behind him is the 13, old Travis Damasio, who's laps down. And Mitch Page in P10. Sorry, Pape. Mitch Pape. I gotta keep remembering Pape. You're calling him Page, and his name is not Page. As Jack Sanders has gone to the pits once more. We are going to go to another quick commercial break now. When we come back, we will be going to the checkered flags, so make sure you guys stay tuned. The end of the Cyhawk 150 will be coming up very shortly. Welcome back to the Cyhawk 150 here from the repaved Iowa Speedway. As you can see, our leader, Christian Budds, just put a lap down on Corey Cook. So now we just have 8 cars left on the lead lap. He still has a 3 3/4 second lead over Logan McAnally in P2. A big gap from P2 to P3 and 4. In fact, 3rd, 4th and 5th kind of all over each other right now. Harmon, Pizzakemi and Campbell. So less than 50 laps to go. It's still anyone's game. In fact, it's less than 40 laps to go. Now, Christian Budd looks like he has this thing absolutely sewn up, but one caution. It absolutely changed the complete outlook of this race. There is Pizzakemi getting around the 24 of Isaacson. He's trying to catch back up to Thomas Harmon. Thomas starting to pull away from him. Similarly, he has been pulling away from Ken Campbell. Joe Slama's not too far behind these guys as well, though Slama with some older tyres than these guys to the tune of about 12 laps. James Watson about to succumb to the power that is Christian Budd and be put a lap down. So too is Chris Champeau, who was battling for the top spot earlier in the race. But I think if we get a caution, if you're in the top 8, you're going to have to pit. Now, if a caution were to come out right now, I would expect everyone in the top 8 to pit. because why not? 25 of Jack Sanders caught the fence there coming out of turn 4. Just saw that in the background. He's right behind Ken Campbell. I think he has fresh tyres on the automobile. Ken Campbell gets to the inside of Frank Isaacson. And Watson has now been put a lap down. Yeah, if we get a caution and you're just one lap down, you're absolutely going to get that wave around. You're not going to burden yourself with fresh tyres and the looseness that comes with them. Unless you are the lucky dog, in which case you are definitely getting tyres. You're just taking it easy, hoping that you'll get another quick caution. But laps are winding down fairly quickly here. Currently doing about 24 seconds per lap. Christian Budd just did a 24.3. Logan McConnelly doing a 24.2, so he is slowly closing that gap. It's not closed down by much, but it's ever so slight. As Scott Rickard making his charge into the top 10. He's trying to get around Corey Cook for the 9th position. Logan McCannley actually stuck behind them. So he could be losing time here very shortly as he's stuck behind these two battling for the 9th position. He's going to try and force the 3 wide. In fact, he has forced the 3 wide. Thought better of it as they all single file out. That just made it awkward for all 3 of them. And he definitely lost a lot of time with that one little maneuver. Gap now out to 4 seconds between McCannley and Christian Budd. Once more, Scott Rickard pulling to the inside of Corey Cook. The age-old battle for P9. Cook using the momentum of the outside. Rickard trying to cut the track down as much as he can on the inside. There's Christian Budd on the back of the 13 of Massier. Then the next car on the track ahead of him is the 12 of Chris Champeau. He is currently the last car on the lead lap. Christian Budd just solely running that low line. Save your tyres a little bit better on the low line as well. Joe Slammer not too far up ahead on the road either. There's a few cars in between Christian Budd and Thad Baylor at the moment. Baylor and Griesbaum separating Christian Budd now from Joe Slammer as he goes around Chris Champeau, puts him a lap down. 6 cars left on the lead lap. Christian Budd just putting on an absolute clinic. He's absolutely not bothered by what's going on behind him. That Baylor pulls to the side, allows Christian Budd easy thoroughfare. Griesbaum, the next one on track to go another lap down. Griesbaum, who's currently 1 lap down in at the 16th position. Sorry, the 15th position. That means we currently have 9 cars who are 1 lap down. About to be 8 when Bud gets around Griesbaum, because Griesbaum will be 2 laps down. Griesbaum pulling to the side, allowing him through. Joe Slama in P6, the next car on track with just 19 laps to go. There is Pizzacami in P4. Posturing for a move on Pentacuff. And he makes that move look easy. Oh, and I'm the one struggling with the alternate dimension there, as everyone blinked out for a second. There is P2 Logan McAnally, making his way methodically through the lap traffic. He sends it on Travis Massia. As Slama has now gone a lap down. Leaving just 5 cars on the lead lap. Got 9 cars 1 lap down. There's James Watson. He's currently in P8. It's actually a pretty good run for Watson here. Holding on to a solid top 10, even if he is a lap down. These are the kind of tracks where Christian Budd just absolutely thrives. Frank Isaacson about to go another lap down. He'll be 3 laps down here. There is Logan McAnally. He's brought the gap down to 3 seconds to Christian Budd, but he's not closing in fast enough for it to really make that much of a difference. He'll now get to the inside of Andrew Griesbaum, who's in 13th. I'm just having a quick look here. Pizzacami started in 22nd up into P4. He's gained 18 positions in this race. He won't be the hard charger because he didn't set a qualifying lap, as we now have 10 laps to go. But it's still worth a special mention there. And just having a quick look at who would be the hard charger at this point, it'd be Joe Slama. So I might have to call an audible on this one, because Joe Slama's only gained one position from where he started. Slama started in 7th, he's currently in P6. If Slama were to lose a position to Chris Champeau, then he wouldn't have gained at all. Which means no one who qualified has gained positions. As Christian Budd gets around Mark Pentecoff once more. There's Jack Sanders up next. With 5 laps to go at the line for Christian Budd. He still has just over 2.5 second gap to Logan McAnally. McAnally would have to close in half a second a lap, and I don't think he's going to do that. In fact, Christian Budd was faster the last lap around. 4 laps to go. And this just goes to show how much of a monster Christian Budd is. Every time he joins us for a season, he will just absolutely dominate. He is the most dominant champion we've ever had. And he's been on an absolute hot streak of race wins every time he joins us. He struggled a little bit in Winstell, having a couple of DNFs this season. And just a couple of really poor performances with being involved in other people's incidents. But when it comes to output, he is practically unbeaten. We got 2 laps left to run. And now it's a white flag, last lap, last chance to win it or wear it. The gap to McAnally is still 2.5 seconds as he comes down the back straight into turns 3 and 4. Barring anything absolutely major happening here, your winner of the Cyhawk 150 here from the repaved Iowa Speedway is going to be the 17 of Christian Budd. P2 is going to go the way of Logan McAnally, P3 Thomas Harmon, and P4 Brian Pizzakemi, with Ken Campbell finishing in 5th as the last car on the lead lap. And here are your unofficial results. It's Budd, McAnally, Harmon, Pizzakemi, Campbell, Slama, Watson, Champeau, Rickard, and Cook. That's your top 10. And it's Pape, Horton, Marquez, McDonald, Griesbaum, Collins, Isaacson, Macias, Sanders, and Failor down to 20th. 21st is Pentecoff and Sanchez and McCoy, both not finishing this race. You see Christian Budd doing his donuts there on the repaved Legends Oval here at Iowa Speedway. We're going to go to a commercial break. When we come back, we will have driver interviews, so make sure you guys stay tuned. Alrighty, it is time now for driver interviews. And as always, we'll kick things off with our Autism Awareness Hard Charger Award. Now, I had to call an audible on this one because, well, everyone that qualified, only one person gained, and he only gained one spot. And we can't really call that a hard charger performance. So instead, we're just going to encapsulate the whole field. And your hard charger tonight is also your fourth place getter. And that is, of course, the 78 of Brian Pizzakemi. Brian, the king of not qualifying and making your way through the field, started down in 22nd and finishing in fourth for a plus 18 performance. What's it like?
Well, after 150 laps of death gripping the wheel, currently my hands hurt, my wrists hurt, everything hurts. But I mean, for the race itself, it was a really good time. We had a little bit of a hiccup at the start. Just I think a lot of cold tire jitters, which got a little spooky. But I mean, overall, the car handled pretty phenomenally in terms of it would start super loose, then it would kind of get back to neutral, and then you really started to get to drive it off in the corner and actually kind of drift a little bit here and there. Made for a kind of a bit of a entertaining a drive for sure.
Now, it was definitely an interesting start to the race. A couple of quick cautions there without a lap completed both times, but then just a long green flag run to end it off. What was it like trying to figure out when to come in for your pit stop, considering we had those couple of early cautions? And I know you, and I know that you came in to put yourself at the back for both of them.
Yeah, well, I put myself at the back just because I was not confident on cold tires. I didn't want to well contribute to the already caution well, two cautions we had at the start, and I didn't want to take anyone out, so I just paced myself. But in terms of trying to get or call when to go down pit road, it was I was just gonna go until I ran out, and then Ken said he was gonna pit. It's like, this is probably not a bad time. I was within the window, and I was starting to get a little too squirrely for my liking. So I definitely needed some fresh tires and fuel. I do want to say shout out to my pit crew. You're fired. I will be hiring a new one next week because a 15-second stop is not exactly winner worthy.
Wow, didn't realize you had such a slow stop, and yeah, that's horrible.
It was a bad time for sure.
Now, let's just talk about the on-track action after you did finally get some grip and some confidence in the car. What was it like trying to just work your way through the field and get up into being in the top five position?
Oh man, it was very one lane dominant for sure. I feel like it was getting through the field wasn't entirely easy. It was as soon as you sent it off in the corner, the car didn't want to turn, and then if you try to pick up the gas too much, you started kind of pushing tight and then snapping loose on exit. So you had to do a lot of like overcorrecting here and there just so you didn't take out your competitors. So I think everyone did a phenomenal job of trying to avoid doing that to each other. And well, I'm sure the wall doesn't agree with some drivers, but I think everyone did a really good job trying to give each other space.
All right, now let's look forward to next week. We're going to be going to upstate New York for the Watkins Glen road course race. So, what is the feeling like for you as we head into the one and only road course race of the season?
Oh, I'm terrified. Oh crap! I didn't realize next week was the road course, so not good. We're gonna go with not good right now, Corey. We may do a little bit of pre uh, pre race or pre week practice just to kind of get a feel for it, but this performance or these 2 weeks of doing pretty well is going to come to an end real quick.
All right, so you heard it here first. Ryan is going to be try harding for next week's race.
No.
All right, now before we let you go here tonight, Brian, anyone you want to give a quick shout out to?
Shout out to all the drivers for putting on a phenomenal race. That we had a hiccup at the start, but everyone collectively pulled it together, and we were able to get a really good run right after, and went green the whole way. It was a lot of fun. I really do appreciate everyone giving each other room. It was phenomenal to see, and kind of just a nice thing to see after well, a car that was definitely very spooky. Shout out to all the fans, all the people watching, and then shout out to you, Corey, for an awesome broadcast as usual.
All right, well, thank you very much for coming out. Congratulations on coming home with the Autism Winners Hard Charger Award. And we look forward to seeing what you can do next week when we go road course racing at Watkins Glen.
All right, thank you, Corey.
All right, guys, that was your Autism Winners Hard Charger Award winner, the 78 of Brian Fizikemi. Coming up next, we're going to have our second place getter. And tonight's second place getter is going to be the 38 of Thomas Harmon. Thomas, a bit of a difficult race out there. You started off good with your second place qualifying, and then Christian just went and did Christian things.
Yeah, let me correct the finish there. It was third, not second, because
Oh
I
yeah, third.
completely jacked up pit road entry, and that was embarrassing. But it wasn't bad. I enjoyed the race. It first couple laps were sketchy, but after that, it wasn't too bad. I enjoyed racing it. I just wish I wouldn't have screwed up pit road, so I'd have been in there at the end with those two.
Now let's just talk about getting through the race. Couple early cautions there. Did you think with the trend of those couple of early cautions, we're going to get a few more? And what was your mindset like trying to adjust from having those couple of early cautions into going to the long green flag run?
It wasn't too difficult. My plan was to just settle in behind Christian to begin with, and just kind of stay close to him. Fortunately, was able to do that in the first run, but he eventually pulled away. But it wasn't too difficult. Didn't really change up how I ran the track. I let Chris get by me in that first run, and then by the way he was running, I could tell he was burning that right front off. It was just a matter of time before I can get back to him.
And how was it just trying to deal with the new car on the new repave of Iowa as well? Because the track race is a little bit different to how the old track used to race.
Yeah, it's definitely a bottom feeder track, which I enjoy. You got to be careful on the throttle on exit, otherwise you're gonna lose it, especially out of four, because you hit that transition from the repave to the old concrete, and it's fun. It's fun.
All right, now let's look forward to next week. We're going to be going to our one and only road course of the season, and we're going to be taking on the stomping grounds of Scott Rickard and upstate New York. What's the feeling like for you as we head into Watkins Glen?
I enjoy racing the Glen. I haven't done it in these cars, so there's a chance I'll end up in a fence somewhere, but we'll find out then.
All right, Thomas, before we let you go here tonight, anyone want to give a quick shout out to?
Shout out to you up in the booth for broadcasting it. All the fans, drivers that show up each week and support everybody. Um, all the league admins, and no Ivor on this car, but we'll have to thank Oreo this week, I suppose.
All right, well, thank you very much for coming out, Thomas. Hopefully, we can get you a Avril Lavigne paint scheme here soon. And if not, then we'll just see you next week when we go to upstate New York.
Sounds good to me. I'll be there.
All right, guys, that was a 38 of Thomas Harmon, our third place getter here tonight. And now for our second place getter. And our second place getter is the one car of Logan McAnally. Logan, a great performance for you. You weren't right up the front at the very start. Of course, not qualifying, working your way through the field, but a very, very decent result there with P2 tonight.
Yeah, in theory, I probably should have qualified, but it was fun coming through the field. Man, it was. I didn't expect to go green the entire race after all those crazy little incidents at the start, but man, had to keep the tires on the car. That's for damn sure.
Now, what was it like trying to weigh expectation versus reality? Of course, the repave of Iowa being a great unknown, so everyone was kind of basing their knowledge off of the old Iowa, which drove fairly tight. So, what was it like trying to adjust to being, fairly loose here early in the run compared to what we normally would at old Iowa?
Yeah, I feel like I've always ran around the white line, and that's what I did tonight. It's a little bit smoother, man. If you get up out of the new pavement, good lord, there is no grip. Bump, 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 bump. Um, I hit it one time on accident because I missed a corner. Probably lost half a second to the dude in front of me, but you just had to keep it on the bottom pretty much tonight.
Now, what was it like trying to just work your way through the field? Of course, as I said, not qualifying and ending up in P2. You obviously had to pass a lot of cars. So, what was it like just trying to figure out when and where to make the moves and save your tires at the same time?
Pretty much, shoot, I don't even remember when we went green the last time, but um, it was just save tires for. I think I started pushing with 30 laps left in the tank. Um, I don't know. It's just whenever we were running the pit parties in practice, I I really couldn't pass anybody, but I don't know. It feels like it freed up and it was easier to run the bottom around somebody. I didn't want to run the top around anybody because I felt like I was going to get up in the bumps and not have a good time. But yeah, it was very interesting driving through the field. I felt like I gained a little bit on pit road. I don't know what happened to Harmon. What happened to him?
I'm not entirely sure. I actually completely forgot to ask him. But my theory, my personal theory, is he went to go to pit road and missed it.
Oh, okay. Because I know I came down a lap after him and still passed him off pit road. I didn't know if he had a penalty or what, but
Because you guys actually did pit on the same lap. Because I'm just looking, and yeah, you pit run at both 60. So he attempted to come down the lap before you and missed pit entry.
oh, okay.
All right, now let's look forward to next week, Logan. We're going to be going upstate New York. So what's the feeling like for you as we go road course racing at the Glen?
I just hope I make it all 40. I don't know what to do in this car at the road courses. I don't think anybody's got much experience at road courses in this new Gen 4, but whew, I know the brakes suck. I feel like there's gonna be a lot of people blow through corners, me included. I guarantee I'm gonna miss some corners, especially with it being 40 laps. But it should be fun to figure out. Um, Hopefully we don't get ran over at some point or run somebody else over at some point.
All right, now before we let you go here tonight, mate, anyone you want to give a quick shout out to?
Shout out to Bass Pro for still being on the car in season 2. Or my season 2. I don't know how many seasons y'all ran this year. I think this was season 2 for this year, but
Yeah.
um everybody that puts on the league, everybody that races in the league. You for putting on the broadcast. I really like that we're getting some or we've almost got every single race sponsored this year, right?
Just about, yeah, I do believe.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I remember last season it was a lot less full of sponsors, but it's good to see a bunch of sponsors this year or this season.
All right, well, thank you very much for coming out, Logan. Congratulations on coming home P2 here tonight. And we look forward to seeing what we can do next week when we go to upstate New York.
We'll see y'all next week.
All right, guys, that was our second place getter here tonight, the one car of Logan McAnally. Coming up next, we are going to have our race winner. Of course, he is the most dominant thing we have seen in the Output Racing League. Almost every time he's hit the track, he has come home with the checkered flag in his back pocket. It is the cog himself, Mr. Christian Bud. Christian, you did everything you needed to do. You started on pole. You absolutely dominated every single lap, and I think there was only about 3 laps that you didn't lead in this entire race, and those were after your pit stop.
Yeah, it was a good race. Started off with those couple cautions and kind of didn't know what it was going to be like, but then after that, we got the rest of them in green, which was really good. Um, setup was a little sketchy on cold tires, but then settled in pretty standard iRacing tight that you would expect. Um, so I kind of spent most of the race managing the right front tire. Really kind of realized like after the pit stop that I probably could have used more of it because when I checked my tires at the end, I had a little bit more left than I probably should have. But overall, it was pretty fun to drive, I guess, and everybody's pretty courteous as far as lap cars and things. Um, and seemed like Logan was pretty fast. I don't know if he would have started up front if that race would have been different or played out a little different. Would have been interesting to see. And then Thomas had a problem with pit stop, so kind of got separated. So the last run, I was pretty much like looking at the gap, and I was like, it's like 4.5 seconds. I'm really not feeling any pressure, so I was just kind of saving my tires just in case we got a late restart or something. I didn't know if I would pit or not, so that was it. Just kind of a standard race.
So what was it like then measuring expectations between what we thought was going to happen at this track and what actually happened? Because I think most of us were generally basing it off of old Iowa, which it was just fairly tight right from the get go and only got tighter as the run got on, with this one starting out loose and then going into the tight.
Yeah, I didn't know what to expect at all because I just haven't driven this track ever, and I don't. The last time I drove Iowa, like in any kind of race situation, was probably I don't know. It's probably been 4 or 5 years ago. Early. I don't really race Iowa too much, so I don't really have a lot of expectation for it. I just sort of, you know, it just kind of found the line. Line was pretty well around the bottom, I guess, and I tried to run a little higher earlier in practice and felt like you could make some time there, but it was just killing the right front so bad. So, it was okay. I just think that the cars are a little different. They need a little bit of work, I think, still. This kind of I don't I guess what I'm looking for with the car and how I want it to drive, and these ones don't really do what I'm hoping they'll do. So um, just kind of a learning experience for me every time I drive them.
All right. Well, speaking of learning experiences, next week we're going to be going to our first and only road course of the season, taking on Scott Rickard's stomping grounds at upstate New York. So, what's it feeling like for you as we head into Watkins Glen?
Um, well, we're gonna run the Windstyle race this weekend at the same place, so I'm gonna have some laps there. Um, I've driven this car. I just drove it today. We are doing some setup work on it, and it's pretty fun. Actually, like the one thing I do like this car so far on is the road courses. I think it's a big improvement over what we had with the old Gen 4. It's easier to drive for sure. I was telling Brian and Thomas in there that the difference I feel like when you drove the old cars, you really battled that wheel hop. Every time you went into a corner and you downshifted, you were really fighting that wheel hop. And this car, whether it's right or wrong, it just doesn't seem to do it very much. So you can be really aggressive on your brakes. The braking distances are a little longer with this car, but it's easier to just go to max brake and not lock them up. And then it doesn't really wheel hop, so you can downshift easy and just kind of focus on your line and everything, and you're not wondering like what's going to happen as I enter every corner. Um, so it was easier for me to actually hit some lap time. We'll just see how the tires fall off and everything. I think the last time I ran a road race with output was with the trucks, and I felt pretty out to lunch on that and got my butt kicked. So we'll see what happens this time, but hopefully it'll be competitive and have a fun race.
All right. Well, before we let you go here tonight, then Christian, anyone you want to give a quick shout out to?
Just everybody at Output, all the drivers who showed up tonight. It's always fun to have a nicer, bigger field, and everybody's real courteous tonight. So anybody who was on a track with me, thanks for the room and everything, and still like lots of hard racing, so it was fun. And of course, all the admin team here who runs everything, keeps everything going smooth, and you for doing the broadcast.
All right. Well, thank you very much for coming out, Christian. Congratulations on another dominant display here on our little series, and we look forward to seeing what we can do next week when we go road course racing.
All right, thank you.
All right, guys, that was tonight's winner, the 17 of Christian the Cog Bud. But that is going to wrap things up for us here tonight at Iowa. Thank you all so much for coming out. It's been an absolute pleasure. And we look forward to seeing you all again next week. So until then, I've been your commentator, the Aussie Sim commentator. We'll see you guys in upstate New York.